Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do a little story time because I asked you guys on my Instagram what you guys wanted to see in these videos, and a lot of you suggested a story time. I was thinking of what story time I could talk about or what I should talk about, and I think I'm gonna go with the most important one, and that is why I dropped out of school. In this video, I will be talking about the reasons why I dropped out of school. It was mainly bullying because of mental health conditions because of that bullying, and yeah, but I'll get into more detail throughout this video. So I started my schooling in prep, and I went to a Christian school. My grandparents are religious and my parents are not, but they sent me there because my grandma is the counselor of that school. They thought that it would be more supportive and helpful with her there and stuff like that. Unfortunately, it wasn't for me. I went from prep to grade 9, and in grade 9 I'd had enough, simply because I'm not religious, so it was very confusing and it was just too much for me, so I wanted to change schools. I went to a new school, a state school, in grade 9 for 1 week. In that 1 week, I got so anxious to meet new friends and get to classes and meet new teachers, and it just all got a bit too much for my anxiety and stuff like that. So I returned to my old school. I returned to my old school until grade 10. At the start of grade 10, I went back to the state school and tried to start again in a fresh year, so it wasn't in the middle of the year like last time. And it started off going really well. I made friends, I was doing well at school, I was enjoying my time at school, and I was honestly really happy with my life. A few weeks in, the bullying started. I don't really know what happened, but all of a sudden, girls were picking on me, they were like gossiping about me, and other people would tell me, but I'm one of those people that just shrug it off and go, it doesn't matter. And I understood I was the new girl, so obviously I was gonna be spoken about. At first I was just ignoring it. I was happy with my group of friends I had, and they were very supportive and helped me out a lot throughout the bullying and stuff like that. But then it progressed into a lot more. Got so much that I had to start seeing the school chaplain, slash counselor, whatever you want to call it, just to explain to him what was going on, how I felt about it, how I was starting to struggle a little bit just to go to class because I felt nervous and scared that people were talking about me, and they were, so I did have a reason to be worried. A week later, the people that were picking on me realized that I was going to those counselling sessions at school, and every time I got to class late or something because I was at that session, they would tell the teacher that I was wagging or skipping school. They would make up stuff that I was doing, like smoking, drinking, whatever, before school, which was a lie. But they were really trying to get on my nerves, and it was really working. I started to get really depressed, and I started second guessing myself and feeling really anxious and upset because this is a brand new school. I was hoping for a great experience, because I left all my awesome friends at my old school simply because I didn't understand the religion side and I couldn't cope my head around it. So it was really difficult for me to do my work and stuff like that. Let me explain. This one girl that started picking on me first was like the leader of the girl group at the school. I don't know. I didn't even know schools had them. We did not have them at my old school, so when I came to a state school, it was like a movie. Like I was the victim in a movie. It's how I felt. It so happened that this girl had to be in every single one of my classes, which made it super difficult. If I was running late or I didn't have a chair and I had to find a chair because she would always say something. If she was sitting behind me, she'd whisper stuff in my ear about how ugly I look or fat I look or anything she could do to upset me. And I never really retaliated or told her to stop, and I think I should have. I think I should have stood up for myself and told her that it's really upsetting me, but I did. Shortly after that, I started pretending to be sick. I would tell my mum I didn't want to go to school. I would stay in bed. She kept asking me why, and I just said I didn't want to go. I was never bad at school. I was usually pretty good at my grades and stuff like that, but after the bullying got intense, I skipped pretty much every day of grade 10. So I went to grade 10 for I think a total of like 2 weeks over the year, and that was simply because I was leaving school in the morning before my class and going to sit in a park by myself and just had a cry. Honest, it was just so overwhelming. I was so upset, but I didn't want to tell anyone what was going on. I don't even know if I've actually told anyone about any of this until now. Obviously, I've told my counselors and psychologists and stuff like that in school. Obviously, my parents would have known something was going on, but I wasn't okay to talk about it, which was wrong. You should always talk to someone about it and don't keep it bottled up inside. I feel like it makes the bullying worse. Bullying started to extend onto my friends, which was just horrible, to be honest. Me and my friends would be walking down the corridor at lunchtime, just going to find a seat, as you do, like every normal person does. And this girl would yell out, "Are you guys lesbian together? Why are you guys so fat and ugly?" And honestly, I always ignored it. I never said anything at all, ever, until this day, really. My depression started growing and growing and growing, and it got to the point where I was on medication and I was seeing a psychologist before school several times a week. It got to the point where self-harm was involved. I don't really want to talk about that much, but yes, that was there, and that happened for a few years. And yeah, it got to the point where I didn't really want to live anymore, so that was a really, really dark time in my life, but it did happen. Obviously, I'm doing much better now, so no need to worry or anything like that. I'm really happy now, but back then it was really dark, a really dark time for me. Despite all the bullying and the depression and everything like that, I finished grade 10. And I started grade 11 the next year, and I was ready. I was like, okay, let's go. But it just got worse. This girl now had everyone saying stuff about me. I have no idea why. I honestly can't tell you why. It's just because she didn't like me. So they were telling me to eat less and stuff like that. I was so fat, and they were asking why I was so short. Did I have something go wrong with my birth and stuff like that? It just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And I ended up just staying in bed on the first term of holidays. I stayed in bed all holidays. I didn't leave my room, and I didn't eat much that holidays. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was listening to what they were saying, which is absolutely terrible, but I was listening, and I thought maybe if I listen to them, they'll stop bullying me and teasing me for stuff. The holidays ended and I decided not to go back to school. I just couldn't do it anymore. I was so emotional, it was so overwhelming, it was just so hard, and I didn't want to put up with it anymore, but I couldn't tell anyone about it. It was just really, really hard. So I didn't go to school. On the first day back, after school holidays, my mum came in and said, "Sammy, you gotta get ready now, your school starts very, very soon." And I said, "Mum, I'm not going." She said she was furious. My mum is super, super kind and super, super lovely, but she was furious. She didn't understand why I didn't want to go to school. She just thought I didn't want to go to school, if you know what I mean. Like I didn't want to do my work and stuff like that. But that wasn't the case. I was really, really upset and I was really, really hurt, and I thought if I went outside, everyone would see how fat I was and how ugly I was, because that's what people were telling me for a whole year straight. So obviously I started believing them, because if that's all you hear, it's hard to nudge it off, you know what I mean? My mum was really, really angry at me. She did have to start work soon, and I was honestly being a bit rude, I'm not gonna lie, but I wasn't going to school, so she said fine, and you know, left and went to work. I stayed home in bed. I didn't have like a fun day at home. I still stayed in bed. I slept all day. I felt okay that day. Next day, my mum tried to get me out of bed again, and I was just not having it. I was not getting out of bed. It was not working. She tried to call my dad to talk to me, and I was like, no. It was my grandma. My grandma tried to ring me and talk to me and what's going on, blah, blah. And the next was my friends, and my friends were like, why aren't you coming to school? We'll come pick you up. And I said, no, I'm just not going. After doing that for like 2 weeks of just saying no, and being like a little brat, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little brat. Mom finally caved in and said, fine, you don't have to go to school, but you do need to get a job. I want one. So at first I was saying, no, I'm not getting one. I'm just staying here in bed. She said, you can't just stay in bed. You either go to school or you get a job. So I said, okay, fine. I went and looked for one. Days later, my mum rang me while I was at home, and she said, hey, there's a butcher down the road that's hiring. You need to get your butt down there and put your resume in. And she was pretty mad about it, so I did. I didn't want to work at a butcher. I was vegetarian at the time. I'm still vegetarian, but like a vegetarian working at a butcher, it was strange. Back to the story. So my grandma drove me to the butcher, and I went in and I said, hi, my name's Sammy, blah, blah. And they gave me a job trial the next day, so I did that. Did my job trial, it went well. They called me a few days later and said, hey, can you work today? So they didn't even say, hey, you got the job, or congratulations. They're like, hey, can you work today? I did that job for about a year. So that's kind of my why I dropped out of school story. It was mainly because of bullying and depression and an eating disorder. So all that mixed together is enough for someone to have a meltdown, and dropping out of school was my meltdown. What have I done since then? Since dropping out of school, I have met my boyfriend Gaia. I have finished a Cert 3 in events course at TAFE, and I have currently been working full-time for a year doing my Cert 3 in childcare. So I'm doing great. I've moved into my first apartment. I have my license. I've been to Japan. Like, I'm doing really, really well for myself now, and I'm really, really happy. Do I regret dropping out of school? To be honest, no. I don't regret it at all. I'm content with where I am now, and I'm grateful for all the experiences in my life, bad and good. Everything has made me who I am, and yeah, I'm really grateful for all of that. I hope you enjoyed that little story time. I'm sorry if it got a little bit deep and like personal, but I feel like mental health and bullying and depression is something you really need to talk about and share. As I said, I kept it inside for so long, and it made it so much harder. Once I could speak to my friends and partner about it, it made it so much easier. So don't always keep it bottled up inside, because it's really important to get help and have support from others, and you can't get support from others if they don't know what's going on. Anyway guys, that's enough from me. I'll see you in the next video. Please like and subscribe if you did enjoy this video, or if you would like some more storytime videos from me. I have lots of experiences, good and bad, that I can talk about, and I would really love to share them with you guys if you would let me talk about them. Okay, I'm gonna go now, and I will see you next time. Bye!